Hi friends, it's your pal Scott Garibay, and today we are going to talk about Dungeons and Dragons, and we're going to talk about the function of a thing, all right? And we're going to talk about Whistlindiesel and his activity. Ooh, this is pretty incredible. Whistlindiesel and his taking a $400,000 supercar to a cornfield in Waco, Texas, driving it through that cornfield and watching it burn. Um, and uh, and we're going to talk about this in context to the question: what is the function of a thing? All right. So, hi, my name is Scott Garibay. I have this incredibly unique view of Dungeons and Dragons. So, what exactly is my view of Dungeons and Dragons? My view of Dungeons and Dragons is that it is not a game. It has never been a game. It is not now a game, and it never will be a game. It is a human improvement engine designed specifically to serve that function secretly by Gary Gygax. Essentially, I think he saw that self-help books were worthless. And by the way, go to a Barnes and Noble today and look for the self-help section. You won't find it. They don't even label them that because they realized how incredibly ineffective self-help books were. Right, that people were ashamed to buy them, and they don't really function right the way they were intended. He saw that there were disciplines that were designed to help humanity, but were only available to the rich. And I believe he built Dungeons and Dragons, called it a game because he knew people would interact with it if it had that label. But the reality is, Dungeons and Dragons is not a game. It is not a tool for cutting goblins in half in a fantasy world. It is a human improvement engine designed specifically to cut your deficiencies in half in the IRL. And so I'm saying that the function of Dungeons and Dragons is not what people are telling you is, right? Which is different. And that's my humble opinion. And it's very unique, but I feel it very passionately, right? And I'm trying to get others to come along and to engage with Dungeons and Dragons this way. And I will tell you right now, I do think it's starting to work. Right? There are a lot of people. Like if you go on to Dungeons and Dragons main YouTube feed, you will hear people saying things about Dungeons and Dragons officially distributed by Hasbro that are shocking, that you would have never heard even 3-4 years ago. And so I think people's view of Dungeons and Dragons is fundamentally changing. You hear things regularly coming from YouTube's Dungeons and Dragons official channel that is shocking. Just statements of like, this game is transforming my life. This game is transforming other people's lives. Things you don't hear about Chutes and Ladder or Monopoly or any board game, right? Or any tabletop role-playing game or any tabletop game in any capacity, right? And so this is starting to change. So, okay. So if I'm saying this, is there evidence that this is true elsewhere? Are there any receipts, not evidence, are there any receipts that I can put forward to say, hey, this is happening in other spaces? And I think there is. Whistlindiesel is it. Okay. What is the purpose of a $400,000 supercar? Okay. That's super simple, Scott. You buy, a $400,000 supercar. It's got a cool spoiler. It's got a great engine. It's really fast. It looks super cool. And the purpose is very simple. You buy it to impress your friends, to impress all the people that surround your associates, to impress, your loved ones. And you wax it, once a week. You take really good care of it. You drive it exactly the way it was designed to be driven. You have it for 10 or 20 years, maybe even get vanity plate, or maybe even get antique plates on it when it gets old. But you keep it forever, and you just care for it. And its purpose is to impress people and to make you feel good and to serve as transportation. That's the function of a $400,000 supercar. Well, Whistlindiesel comes in and he goes, no, that's not the purpose of a $400,000 supercar. You get a $400,000 supercar, you plan immediately on how you're going to destroy it. You take it to a cornfield in Waco, Texas, and you drive it in a way it was never intended to be driven. And then you watch it burn. you watch it burn. You watch it burn to ash, and then you laugh, right? And you're like, haha. And then what happens? What is the function of it? That car makes you a millionaire when you distribute the intentional video you made of you destroying that $400,000 supercar. And this is the point. Like, you're like, that's not the purpose of a Whistlindiesel has shown. Doesn't matter what you think the purpose of a thing is. The purpose of a thing is what people use a thing to do. That is the function, excuse me. The function of a thing is not what you think the function is. It's what anyone can take that thing and accomplish with it, right? So if all you can think to do with a $400,000 supercar is to, pose in front of it and get some gram pictures, that's on you. It means that you're ridiculously limited and shallow, right? But Whistlindiesel like, this vehicle, I will use it in the function I want, and it will make me a millionaire. The function of that $400,000 supercar is not to make me poor, but to make me rich, right? And so he has chosen a different function for that $400,000 supercar, right? We even see some evidence of this right on Dungeons & Dragons right now. Critical Role. What is the function of a Dungeons & Dragons story? Oh, well, the function of a Dungeons & Dragons story is simply to... the function of a Dungeons & Dragons story is to connect with, with the function of a Dungeons & Dragons story is to have fun and tell a narrative, right? And then you're like, well, no, that's not the function. It's to make 8 people millionaires. And that's exactly what happened with Critical Role, right? And it's also to give Jeff Bezos stories to put on Amazon Prime. That's what it's done, right? Like, that is really distinctly different, right? And so the function of a thing is not what you're told the function of that thing is. The function of a thing is what you can get it to achieve, right? And if others are like, oh, the function of Dungeons & Dragons is to have fun and tell a goofy story with your friends while you eat beer and pretzels, you could smile at them and say, that's delightful. You go do that, right? And just because you're limited and shallow and ridiculous doesn't mean I need to be, right? I can do whatever I can accomplish with this thing. Also, there's a thing where, like, the creator of a thing doesn't get to choose the purpose or the function of a thing. The people who receive it and use it do that. Every single word you just heard in this video is my humble opinion. Nothing more, nothing less. The important part is when I get to hear your humble opinion when you get in the comments and send your traffic. Please consider subscribing and have a fetch millennium.